Hey, LarkenRose here, doing another and the last video, for now anyway, about the thing between Israel and Palestine and Gaza and all that. A follow-up to my follow-up. Feel free to comment below, but if you don't answer what I actually ask in this, I'm probably just going to delete your comment. This is a thought experiment. Very simple, very brief, 3 whole questions, maybe 4, I forget. It goes like this. So, picture yourself, there you are, living in Israel. And you're not politically involved, you're not religious, you don't pay that much attention to the news and what's going on. You don't necessarily know that much about historical anything, and you don't particularly care. You're trying to mind your own business, you're trying to live your own life, trying to be productive and take care of the people you love, going about your life. And then a rocket comes in, blows up in your living room, and kills your young child. First question, if you could right then have a magic button that if you pressed it, it would kill the people directly involved in sending that missile in that killed your child, would you be morally justified in doing that? Now, wouldn't kill anybody else, wouldn't blow up buildings, wouldn't strafe whole towns, wouldn't do it. Just, again, obviously this isn't real. But if you had a magic button that would just immediately kill the people directly involved with sending that bomb in that killed your child, would you be morally justified in doing so? Second question. There you are, living in the Gaza Strip or somewhere in that area. You don't pay that much attention to politics. You're not all that religious. You don't know that much about the historical stuff or the political stuff going on. And you don't particularly want to. You're trying to live your life. You're trying to take care of the people you love. You're trying to mind your own business and be productive and do all that. And a missile comes in and lands in your living room and explodes and kills your young child. If at that moment you suddenly had a magic button and you knew that pressing it would instantly kill anyone and everyone directly involved with sending that missile into your living room and killing your young child, would you be morally justified in pressing that button? If your answer to the first 2 questions wasn't the same, there's something wrong with you. Very, very wrong with you. Basically, you're an evil piece of shit. If the exact same question gets a different answer from you based on what piece of dirt it happens on. Third question. If everyone, I could say everyone in the world, but let's keep it confined to just this conflict at the moment. If everyone suddenly had their own magic button, and that whenever an innocent person died, they could press that button, and the people responsible for making that innocent person die would be dead, and nobody else, no collateral damage, no blowing up buildings, just, in fact, no damaging structure or property or anything, no endangering anybody else. Just everybody had a button that would make specific aggressors who committed specific actions which killed innocent people. If everyone had buttons like that, how long do you think the conflict in Gaza would last? A day? An hour? Last thing to consider. Obviously, there's no such thing as a magic button that just kills aggressors and not everybody else. The people who get power from the conflicts, that includes Hamas. The conflict gives them political power because people support them because of the conflict. It includes the government of Israel. They have power because of the conflict. It It includes the U.S. government, who has all their tentacles everywhere. It includes Raytheon and a whole bunch of private arms dealers who are dealing to one or both sides, often both sides at the same time. All the people who get power, even if you think their side is justified and righteous, the individuals who get attention and power and influence and recognition as a result of the conflict, what happens to them if everybody had those magic buttons? They're gone. They need innocent people to die in order for them to retain relevance and power. Hamas and the Israeli government and the arms dealers and the U.S. government and everybody else involved in the warmongering needs innocent people to die so that they can continue to have power. That is just a reality. Now, there may be some well-intentioned people, well-intentioned, probably horribly deluded, there may be some who would actually be happy and willing to give up their attention and their influence and their money and all that stuff to have the conflict end. But you know damn well there are a lot of people whose importance and their wealth and their power is a direct result of the conflict. And if innocent people aren't dying, they don't have power anymore, which means they will create conflict. Now, if you think this is some crazy conspiracy theory, go read, for example, the declassified documents of Operation Northwoods, where you have the U.S. government, the highest officials, all of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, signing off on faking false flag terrorism, including killing innocent people, to create an unnecessary war so that they have a war to fight, so that they matter, so that they're relevant and important and they get funding and they get power. Yes, there are those people. And there are those people on both sides of almost every conflict, even if there are also lots and lots of well-intentioned people, the mere rabble on either side, who are just angry at injustice and horribleness and want the nastiness to end. So, if there were these magic buttons and everybody had them, what would happen to the Israeli government? What would happen to Hamas? What would happen to the U.S. government, for that matter? And all the arms dealers making millions and millions and millions of dollars off the conflict. Because if the only people dying over there were people directly responsible for killing innocents, nobody would give a shit. Nobody would be outraged. Nobody would support the war. Nobody would be tricked into doing the pack mentality of wanting a giant category of people targeted and bombed and attacked and whatever else. Because if it was just the murderers dying, nobody would care. Think long and hard about that if you cheer for any of it. We need the Israeli government protecting us from these scary Hamas terrorists. We need Hamas to protect us from the nasty Israeli government. Both of them need innocent people dying in order for themselves to continue to have power. That's just the reality of the world. It's been the reality of the world all over the world for a very long time. Now, whatever you think of any historical or factual or arguing over the atrocities and the nasty things that happen here, there, or anywhere else, think long and hard. Not about whether you mean well. I assume you mean well if you're listening to this video. Think long and hard about whether the people resisting injustice or claiming to Where would they be without innocent people dying if they didn't have little kids to point the camera at after they get blown up, or at least make it up? Where would they be without innocent people suffering? Nowhere. They wouldn't matter. They wouldn't have power. They wouldn't have money. Nobody would obey them. Nobody would view them as anything of any worth or significance. If you understand that, then you can start to understand why war happens. No, it isn't because of past injustice. No, it isn't because that group of people just suddenly happens to be evil for some reason. The vast majority of the time, it's because there are small groups of people who personally benefit from the conflict, and they know damn well that you cannot get public support for widespread ongoing violent conflict unless you can point to innocent victims. Because if it was only murderers on both sides dying, nobody would give a shit. To quote the document signed off on by the entire Joint Chiefs of Staff, again, Operation Northwoods, a list of casualties in the newspapers would cause a helpful wave of national indignation. They know damn well that if they want to play their war games, they need the population to be upset enough to support them. And you can't get that unless innocent people are dying. Whatever you think of the religious beliefs and the historical things, whether in the Gaza Strip issue or literally any other military conflict in the world at any point in history, if you don't understand why these things happened, then the psychopaths playing these games know full well all they have to do is show you some dead babies, and you'll cheer for the warmongering to continue. Stop falling for that shit. It's a game they've played forever. They will play it forever until you and enough other people stop falling for that shit. If you want to have righteous indignation against people, individuals actually responsible for killing innocents, I'm 100% on your side. If you advocate defensive violence, including deadly force, against those people, I'm 100% on your side. I don't care what piece of dirt the aggressors live on, and I don't care what piece of dirt their victims live on. If you're cheering for defensive force to be used against murderers, good. I'm on your side 100%. Absolutely. But if you can be so riled up, made so angry and emotional at the sight of innocent people suffering and dying, you can bet your life that the worst people in the world will give you a never-ending supply of innocent people suffering and dying to get you to keep supporting the evil shit that they want you to support. No, we don't have magic buttons that will only target aggressors, unfortunately. We do have hearts and minds that can choose to be principled and only target actual aggressors. When enough people do that, that is the end of the warmongers. It's not just the end of their game, it's the end of their lives. Then and only then is peaceful coexistence an actual possibility.